Discover the incredible transformation of a lazy boy, how he unexpectedly found the power of time. Jake Thompson was known as the lazy boy of Maplewood. At 24, he stood behind the counter of the local gas station, daydreaming of a life outside this quaint, struggling town. As he slid bottles of soda across the counter, he could almost hear the whispers, "That kid's going nowhere." The weight of his parents' sacrifices settled on him like a heavy cloak. His mother, a tireless nurse, and his father, a veteran who had fought for their little community, had poured their lives into him. Yet, here he was, feeling like a square peg in a round hole, forever trapped in a life he didn't choose. But everything changed the day his father fell ill. The news came like a thunderclap. Jake's world tilted off its axis, igniting urgency in his heart that he never knew existed. Sitting in that sterile hospital waiting room, each tick of the clock echoed like an alarm bell. Fear stirred within him, mingling with the unbearable love for his father as he recalled all the quiet sacrifices made for him. Suddenly, their middle-class life felt precarious. The anchor of expectations pulled him deeper into despair, yet under it all, a flicker of hope began to glow. That flicker turned into a flame when Jake met Mrs. Simmons. She was a retired teacher who frequented the diner across from his gas station. One icy afternoon, he spotted her, alone over a cup of coffee, and felt an inexplicable pull. He joined her and, to his surprise, found himself pouring out his heart. "I don't know what to do," he confessed, his voice cracked with vulnerability. Mrs. Simmons listened intently, her eyes wise and warm. "Life," she said softly, "is about blocks of time. Fill them with goals, Jake. It may just change everything." Jake dove into this new perspective, dissecting his days into manageable pieces. He jotted down goals: help his well-being dad, support his weary mom, and even find adventure beyond Maplewood's borders. An exhilaration coursed through him as he structured each day, filling the blocks with purpose, but with that purpose came tension at home, a palpable silence. His father grew frail, his mother wore disappointment on her face like a heavy coat. Jake wrestled daily with shame, the whispers of lazy boy echoing louder than ever when he looked into the mirror. The fear of failure loomed large, taunting him at every turn. Then, one spring afternoon, courage surged within him like a wildfire. He gathered the community for a project to restore the long-neglected town square. Though doubt lingered, he felt alive, igniting teamwork among neighbors who carried their own burdens. Laughter filled the air as they painted benches, planted flowers. The square transformed, becoming a symbol of hope, a testament to their resilience. Yet, with every stroke of paint, internal battles raged in Jake's heart. Would his family come to see him as the son they hoped for, or would he forever be the lazy boy? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the townsfolk gathered on the unveiling day, Jake's heart thrummed in his chest. He was proud yet terrified. Then, standing behind the crowd, a familiar face from his childhood emerged. Memories flooded back, and questions swirled in his mind. Was he really ready to break free? Could he carve out a life larger than Maplewood? As he stood before the crowd, the weight of his father's expectations heavy on his shoulders, one haunting question echoed within: would he ever escape the shadow of the lazy boy? Jake took a deep breath, staring into the faces of the gathered townsfolk. They awaited the unveiling of the renewed town square with glimmering eyes. It wasn't just a project, it was a community's rebirth, their spirits woven together in fresh paint and blooming flowers. But for Jake, it was also the moment that defined him. Could he shake off the label of lazy boy once and for all? The cloth draped over the centerpiece, a newly erected fountain, trembled slightly in the breeze, as if echoing his racing heartbeat. He hesitated, caught in the vulnerability of the moment. In that fabric lay the history of the town, its laughter and sorrow. He glanced toward Mrs. Simmons, her encouraging smile lifting the corners of his mouth. It felt good. And in that instant, he decided to shed the weight of his past. With a swift motion, he pulled the cloth away, revealing the fountain, a beautiful, elegant structure that glistened under the sun. Gasps of admiration filled the air. Children rushed forward, laughter spilling like water over the rocks. The square transformed before his eyes, vibrant chatter replacing the silence that had once muted their community. But as the crowd cheered, Jake felt a prickle of doubt. Would this be enough to change how his parents saw him? Would his mother's disappointment melt away, or would his father's proud gaze remain elusive? As they clapped, Jake forced a smile and stepped back to observe. Laughter rang out, lives intertwining in a way he had only dreamt of before. In that moment, he caught sight of his father seated on a bench, his eyes shining brighter than ever. It was a sight that sent warmth flooding through Jake. Maybe he wasn't just a lazy boy anymore. Maybe he was becoming something more, something his father could be proud of. Yet, as he met his mother's gaze, the familiar shadow of worry darkened her expression. He needed more than just a town square, he needed their faith, driven by the energy buzzing around him. Jake approached the bench where his father sat. "Dad," he started, his voice steadier than he felt. "We did this together." His father looked up, the hint of a smile breaking through the exhaustion etched across his face. "I see that, son," he replied, voice thick with emotion. "You've done good work." For a moment, their eyes held fast, conveying the love and unspoken words that lingered just beneath the surface. There was something perfect in that moment, a shared connection that began rewriting Jake's story, but then, another wave of uncertainty crashed over him. What if he still wasn't enough? The fear of slipping back into apathy tightened at his throat, constricting every breath. He could never return to the boy who wasted away behind the gas station counter. As the crowd began to disperse, Jake felt his heart race again, this time not from fear, but excitement. He had ignited a spark in Maplewood, but what if he could do more? What if he could turn his eyes beyond the town square and into the wider world waiting outside? The seeds of doubt intertwined with hope as he considered possibilities. Just then, Mrs. Simmons approached him, eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "There's so much more you can do, Jake. You've got the spirit. Don't let this fade," she urged, sensing his internal struggle. Jake glanced back at his father, then at his mother. The road ahead felt daunting, but a path was forming. The true transformation had only just begun. In that moment, the lingering question bloomed within him again: could he channel this spark into something greater? But to do so, he would need to confront the very fears that threatened to clutch him back. What awaited him on the horizon was still unknown and perhaps even larger than he could ever imagine. The days following the unveiling of the town square seemed to stretch like a canvas before Jake. Each morning, he awoke with a sense of purpose that he hadn't felt in years. The joy from the weekend's events clung to him like the sweet scent of blooming flowers, reminding him of the laughter and cheers that echoed in the square. But there was still a gnawing ache in his heart, a desire to prove himself, not just to his parents, but to himself. As he walked through town, he could see transformations all around. Neighbors stopped to give him nods of approval, their smiles growing wider with each compliment. "You really turned it around, Jake," they'd say. Each word was a boost, lifting his spirits higher. Yet every earnest "you did it" was also a lingering whisper of doubt. Was he really capable of more? Determined to find out, Jake set a goal: he wanted to organize a community event. Something that would unite them beyond the town square. He envisioned a festival, a day filled with music, food, and family. It was ambitious, but if he could do this, it would solidify his place in Maplewood. One afternoon, on an impromptu visit to Mrs. Simmons, he laid out his vision. "We could have food stalls, and maybe a local talent show," he suggested, his voice brimming with excitement. Her eyes sparkled, the same way they had when he revealed the fountain. "I love it," she cried, clasping her hands in delight. "But you'll need support. It can't just be you. Those words struck him hard. Support. He had always felt alone in this journey. But now it seemed the town was ready to embrace him. Encouraged by her enthusiasm, he started making calls. He reached out to local businesses to sponsor food stands, and he even knocked on doors to recruit volunteers. Each conversation filled him with renewed courage. With each yes, he felt stronger, more capable. The fear of reverting to the old Jake, the one who let life pass him by, began to dissipate like morning fog in the sun. Weeks passed, and as the festival drew near, excitement built throughout Maplewood. Flyers decorated windows and the townsfolk buzzed with energy. But in the quiet moments alone, Jake wrestled with fear. Would his vision fulfill the promise he felt? Or would it fall flat, leaving him to grapple with his parents' judgment once more? On the eve of the festival, Jake stood in front of the mirror, rehearsing his lines. "Tomorrow, we'll come together," he practiced, but the words felt heavy. What if nobody showed? What if the townsfolk had a great time, but still didn't see him differently? The weight of expectation bore down on him. Just then, he heard a knock at the door. It was his father, looking uncharacteristically nervous. "Can we talk?" he asked, stepping inside. Jake's heart raced, unsure of what was coming. His father sat on the edge of his bed, the lines of worry deepening on his face. "I've been thinking a lot, about you and everything you've done," he started, hesitating. "I want to support you tomorrow. It really matters." Jake's breath caught in his throat. Hope fluttered in his chest, but the fear was still present. "Dad, what if it doesn't go well?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Just remember, it's about the effort," his father said, placing a reassuring hand on Jake's shoulder. "And you have already done so much." As they exchanged words, warmth spread through Jake, a soft glow of possibility. Maybe this was more than just a festival, it was a chance to redefine everything he thought he knew about himself and his family. The night wore on, tension mixing with the thrill of anticipation. Jake lay awake, eyes fixed on the ceiling, thoughts swirling. Tomorrow could change everything, but was he really ready? What if all his efforts were for nothing? And yet, a spark lit up inside him, a flicker of hope pushing through. He had the potential to create something beautiful. That night, as sleep finally took him, he dreamt of laughter, music, and a new chapter unfolding. With the dawn breaking a little too soon, he rose to face the day, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Was he ready to embrace the next step? Or would the shadows of doubt bind him yet again? Tomorrow loomed large, and he could already feel it pulsing with possibilities. What awaited him at the festival held the promise of something vast and potentially life-changing. As the sun peeked over the horizon, casting golden rays across Maplewood, Jake felt a surge of energy coursing through him. Today was the day. He could already hear the distant echo of laughter and music that felt like a heartbeat, a rhythm full of excitement and promise. With a quick shower and less time than he wanted to perfect his outfit, he finally settled on a simple blue t-shirt with the festival logo he had designed. Stepping outside, the air was filled with the smells of fresh pastries from Mrs. Simmons' bakery and sizzling sausages from Mr. Thompson's grill. The square looked different, vibrant with colorful banners and cheerful decorations fluttering in the soft breeze. Each banner brought a smile, each gust tugging at his confidence that he was greeted by familiar faces. People waved, laughter bounced off the walls of the shops. The atmosphere felt electric, but layered beneath that excitement was Jake's gnawing anxiety. He scolded himself. This was supposed to be a celebration, a moment where he showcased his efforts, yet he felt like a spectator in his own life. He met with the volunteers before opening. There was Sarah, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm as she set up a stage for the talent show. "Can you believe we're actually doing this?" she exclaimed, tying together a loose end on the stage. Jake smiled, but the weight of potential disappointment lingered. "It feels surreal, doesn't it?" "Don't overthink it, Jake. Just look around and see how far we've come. You brought us together," she said, an encouragement that lightened his heart ever so slightly. the clock in the town square struck noon, and people began to gather. The sweet sound of children's laughter rang through the air as families set up picnic blankets under leafy trees. It was a sight Jake had always wanted to see, but today was different. He was the catalyst for all of this. Despite the butterflies in his stomach, the realization that he had done this for Maplewood sent shivers of pride coursing through him. As he stood at the makeshift podium, he felt the crowd's energy wrapping around him. The moment stretched like the small hands of a clock, each second a reminder that he was on the edge of an important leap. Clearing his throat, he glanced at the sea of faces, parents, grandparents, old friends, and children all looking back at him with eager smiles. "Welcome, everyone," he called, his voice shaking slightly. "Thank you for being here today. This festival is about all of us coming together. It's a celebration of our community." Cheers erupted, sending a wave of warmth through him. But behind that joy, doubt lingered. Would his identity reshape from this day? Were the whispers in his heart about being enough just remnants of his old self? As the festivities kicked into gear, music filled the square. Local bands played, kids dashed from stall to stall, and laughter echoed all around. Jake joined Sarah at the talent show stage, where talent oozed from every corner. Each act surpassed the one before, showcasing the brilliance of Maplewood. He felt overcome with pride. This was more than just a festival, this was a new chapter. But within the jubilant moments, the shadow of fear still lurked when his gaze met his parents standing beside each other in the crowd. Their expressions were unreadable, and that gnawing doubt nudged at him again. Were they proud? Or waiting for him to falter? Then an older woman from the crowd approached him, beaming with gratitude. "Jake, thank you for doing this. It's so nice to feel everyone's spirit together again." Her heartfelt words touched him in a way he couldn't define. Before he could respond, the sound of the crowd changed. A hush fell over them. He turned to see a child, no older than 6, clutching a homemade sign that read "Best Festival Ever." His heart melted. In that moment, he realized this day was so much bigger than himself. As laughter filled the space, Jake felt the first real stirrings of connection. Maybe the joy he saw in others would lend him strength. Maybe today was indeed a chance at redefining himself, not just as Jake but as a part of this beautiful tapestry of community. That he took a deep breath, feeling something shift within. He wasn't just transforming the square, he was transforming himself. And just as the thought settled, the realization struck with stunning clarity. Despite the remnants of doubt still whispering in the background, the festival held something truly unexpected. What if everything he was afraid of could only push him forward? As the day unfolded, Jake couldn't shake off that thought. Deep down, he knew he was about to discover just what he was capable of. The tide of change had begun with him, but what would happen if he truly stepped into his new role? Would the crowd accept the transforming Jake? With the talent show nearing its peak, the stage would soon welcome the most anticipated act of the day. As the sound of drums roused excitement, a question loomed large within him. What if this moment was truly the beginning of a journey that would redefine not just him, but the entire town? The drums thumped louder, sending vibrations through the square with each beat. Jake could feel his heart racing in sync with the rhythm, a tidal wave of anticipation washing over him. As the crowd buzzed with excitement, kids squealed in glee, darting to and fro, and adults chatted animatedly. He stood behind the curtain, the excitement of the audience only fueling his excitement and nerves. "Are you ready for this?" Sarah's voice broke through the din, her bright eyes searching his face. She seemed to sense his hesitation. I think so," Jake replied, his voice barely above a whisper. Everything felt real, and yet surreal at the same time. Each clap of the drums resonated in his bones, each cheer from the crowd inviting him to push forward. "You've got this. Just remember, we're all here because of you." Her encouraging smile wrapped around him like a warm blanket. It was more than just words, it was a lifeline. As the curtain lifted, the roar of applause hit him like a wave. Jake squinted into the bright lights, searching for familiar faces among the sea of strangers. There was his mom, her features a mix of pride and worry, while his dad leaned forward, interest etched on his face. It was a look he wasn't used to but wanted more than anything. Now, let us welcome the next act, a surprise entry who has been working hard behind the scenes. The announcer's voice boomed, raising the crowd's energy another notch. Jake's heart skipped. Suddenly, he was bombarded with the overwhelming thought, what if he stepped forward? It was terrifying, and thrilling at the same time. This was just a talent show, but for him, it felt like stepping into the unknown, a leap of faith into a world where he could be more than just Jake from Maplewood. Sarah stepped up beside him, and he caught a glimpse of encouragement in her eyes. "You're the spark, Jake. Just show them who you are." Taking a deep breath, he nodded. The idea of sharing the spotlight, of showcasing the vision he had worked so hard for, lit a fire inside him. Maybe, just maybe, he could do this. With that thought, he stepped out from behind the curtain, his heart pounding in his chest. The crowd's cheers surged anew as he approached the microphone. "Hello, Maplewood." He called out, the energy from the crowd enveloping him like a warm hug. "I want to thank each of you for coming out today. This festival, it's not just an event. It's our beating heart of togetherness." The audience listened intently, some nodding in understanding, others leaning in closer. Jake felt the waves of support flow through him, pushing away doubt. "Together we can create something beautiful, not just today but every day, through every challenge we face." He continued speaking, excitement bubbling within him like a fountain. He talked about dreams, about community ties, and how people could lift each other up. Each sentence added more fuel to the fire inside. With each supportive murmur from the crowd, he found more strength to share his vision for a Maplewood that could grow closer and stronger. As he wrapped up his thoughts, the applause felt like a storm. The crowd erupted into cheers and shouts. Tears brimmed in his eyes as he scanned their faces, each one full of pride and camaraderie. But amid that whirlwind of intense emotions, he felt an unexpected weight. He saw his parents again, and there was something different in their expressions now, something he hadn't noticed before. His mom clapped with tears streaming down her cheeks while his dad's smile was wide and full of approval. In that moment, beneath the glittering lights and roaring applause, Jake realized he wasn't just redefining how the town saw him, he was discovering how he saw himself. The overwhelming feeling of belonging washed over him, ignited by personal truths he had kept hidden away. Then, just as he was about to step back into the wings, a sudden commotion broke out in the crowd. A familiar face emerged, wide eyes shining, and a joyous shout boomed through the square, cutting right through the celebration. "Mama! It's my turn! It's my turn! Now!" Jake turned, mystified, unable to process who had yelled, but a spark ignited within him. What was about to happen next? Would this new act impact the festival's spirit? And what ripple could that create, not just in the crowd but in the chapter Jake was now beginning to write for himself? Jake blinked, his eyes adjusting to the sudden burst of energy that had just pierced his moment of triumph. The cheers now morphed into a curious anticipation, the newly arrived child's exuberance shifting the focus abruptly from his heartfelt address to a new, yet familiar face. There stood Mia, her vibrant spirit shining just as brightly as the summer sun, his little sister, more determined than ever. "Mama! It's my turn! It's my turn now!" She squealed again, her arms flailing as she darted toward their mother, who now rose from her seat, disbelief painted across her face. The transformation Jake felt moments ago began to ripple through him again. Surprise could hardly encapsulate what was happening, but deep down, he felt a spark of pride. Mia had always been the kind of kid who didn't hold back, her laughter contagious, her spirit untamed. But now, standing at the precipice of her own moment, she radiated a fierce determination that Jake admired immensely. As the crowd turned, some murmured excitedly, while others leaned in to catch a glimpse of this unexpected act. It registered on Jake that this was more than just Mia's moment, it was another chance for him to revisit his own celebration. Would he allow her to seize this chance, or would he pull her back, protecting his shine? "Mia!" he called, his voice breaking slightly as he stepped back into the spotlight, the warmth of the crowd still pulsating around him. Her wide eyes met his for just a heartbeat, and he saw a blend of hope and eager expectancy. "Mia, go for it." Sarah's voice chimed in, giving a push of encouragement. It felt like she had sent a wave of reassurance across the square. Taking a breath, Jake stepped aside from the microphone. Strangely, surrendering this moment didn't feel like a loss. Instead, it allowed space for something beautiful to emerge. He took pride in how his sister could grasp the same spirit he had just shared with the audience. The announcer looked confused at first but quickly regained composure. "Looks like we have a surprise additional act, folks. Please welcome Mia to the stage." She took off running, her tiny steps echoing in the stillness that briefly followed. With a flourish uncommon for someone her age, she jumped to the center of the stage, twirling and then striking a pose, eliciting laughter and applause. Jake's heart swelled as he knew that even maybe beyond the boundaries of his support, she was ready to take the world by storm. "Hi, everyone. I'm Mia. And this is my favorite song. It's about the stars," she announced, throwing her arms out wide. The crowd erupted in laughter and cheers, warming her spirit further. Jake's laughter mingled with theirs, pride pulsing through him as he watched this bundle of energy take command. She had something special and unfiltered authenticity that reminded him of their shared childhood, those brightest moments when nothing seemed impossible. Mia began to sing, her voice shaky but earnest, tapping into notes of joy. Each line poured from her small frame as if the universe had conspired to give her a moment. Gradually, Jake realized the true magnitude of the experience. This was about more than a simple festival. This was a shared story of their family legacy, a legacy of courage and passion. As he listened, the weight of his self-discovery intertwined with hers, until it felt as if they served a greater purpose. His sister's song echoed infinitely, and each note appeared to weave them together, however briefly, into a tapestry of burgeoning talent. When she finished, the crowd erupted once more, this time louder, filling the square with unrestrained applause. Mia spun on her heels, her joy radiating like fireworks across the night sky. Jake cheered the loudest, clapping rhythmically, his heart hopeful and expansive, but as the applause faded into joyous chatter, he noticed his parents again. Their expressions had shifted. They were engaged, eyes bright, sharing this moment together. Had Jake unknowingly set off a chain reaction? What was he about to discover about his own family dynamics now? Would this moment shift everything for all of them, propelling them into a chapter of connection Jake never anticipated? As the thoughts danced in his mind, the lights cast a warm glow over the square, and a thrilling sense of what might unfold next gripped him with eager expectation. As the final echoes of applause faded away, Mia basked in the afterglow of her performance. Jake watched her, a smile plastered on his face while his heart danced joyfully. The transformation inside him was undeniable, it spread through him like ripples of warmth in a cool tide. For a fleeting moment, everything around them felt suspended, time itself holding its breath. That he noticed their mother wiping away a tear, her expression awestruck as she looked at her daughter. "You were amazing, sweetheart," she cried, rushing to scoop Mia up in her arms. Jake felt a lump form in his throat, watching the two of them, a cradle of warmth and love. He had always known that Mia was special, but seeing her shine in front of so many was another level entirely. "Mama, did you see me?" Mia squealed, her small arms wrapped tightly around their mother's neck. "I did. You were a star," their mother cooed, and the moment radiated with a kind of pure magic that seemed almost tangible. Jake felt a wave of nostalgia wash over him. Memories flooded back of their childhood crazy adventures in their backyard, the impromptu shows they'd put on for unsuspecting neighbors. Mia had always been the brave one, unfazed by the spotlight. Today wasn't just Mia's moment, though. It was Jake's too. His journey of stepping back opened a door wider than he had ever imagined. That he turned toward Sarah, who met his gaze and grinned. "You okay?" she asked lightly, her voice cutting through the noise that was now bubbling up again in the square. "I think I am," he said, the realization settling in like a warm blanket. He felt lighter somehow, as if he had let go of a burden he didn't even know he was carrying, but then, an unexpected hush fell over the crowd. Jake turned to see what had captured everyone's attention. An elderly man, dressed sharply in a suit, had stepped up to the microphone again. "Thank you all for being here to support our community's youth." His voice boomed, and curiosity danced in the air. "We have more performances coming up, and I want to extend a special invitation to a talent show we're organizing next month." Jake's pulse quickened. A talent show? He whispered to Sarah, feeling a renewed sense of excitement race through him. This could be an opportunity for Mia to shine, and maybe even for him to find his own voice again. The thoughts collided in his mind. What had just happened mattered more than he could have realized. "Anything can happen. You should help her prepare." Sarah enthused, her eyes bright with the same hope that was bubbling inside him, but as they processed this possibility, something else flickered in Jake's mind. A new pressure. Was he ready to take on the responsibility of helping Mia prepare for this? And what if this was another chance for him, too? To reclaim the stage in a way he hadn't dared to dream, to connect with his own talents and weave them into a story with Mia. The crowd began to chatter again, excitement buzzing in the air, but Jake felt a tugging at his heart. What if fear held him back? Would he step into this space, or shrink again? As he looked at Mia laughing with their mother, a small flame ignited in him. He tilted his head to Sarah, determination stirring. "I think there's a rehearsal to start." Sarah's eyes widened with enthusiasm. "Right behind you." As they ventured forward, an uncharted path lay before them. Could this be the beginning of something bigger? A journey of discovery not just for Mia, but for him as well. The moment felt electric, paving the way for more than he ever anticipated. As they walked back to the stage, the doubt began to morph into excitement, the spark of potential that could shape their bond anew. What more could they uncover about their talents and their family's love as they moved forward? With endless possibilities ahead, Jake felt something he hadn't in a long time: hope. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the square as Mia and Jake moved toward the stage. Excitement hummed through Jake, blending with the lingering flicker of fear inside him. This was his chance to rediscover the joy that had once filled his heart. As they reached the side of the stage, Mia's wide eyes sparkled. "Do you think I can sing that song again? The one with the big notes?" she asked, her voice tinged with hopeful anticipation. Jake knelt beside her, his heart swelling with pride. "Of course. And maybe we can add some dance moves too. What do you think?" The thought of rehearsing together kindled a warmth he had missed. "Yes. Let us do it." Mia jumped up, clapping her hands. Her energy was contagious, and he couldn't help but smile, feeling his own enthusiasm bloom alongside hers. As they began to practice, they turned the empty stage into their own little world. Every note Mia hit, every step she took filled the air with laughter and joy. Jake chimed in, adding harmonies and silly dance moves that made Mia giggle uncontrollably. It felt raw, unfiltered, and real, but somewhere in the back of his mind, doubt crept in. What if they weren't good enough? What if, when the time came to face the crowd, he froze? As these thoughts threatened to overshadow their light-hearted practice, Jake shook them away. He would not let fear steal this moment. "Let us try it one more time," he suggested, his voice steady with resolve. They launched back into the song, and as Mia's voice rang out, a tether formed between them, a blend of their dreams and efforts. Each laugh, each mistake made it more beautiful. They weren't just rehearsing, they were weaving their story together, one performance at a time. Later that evening, under the glow of fairy lights, Jake caught Sarah's eye. She leaned against a nearby tree, sipping a soda, a knowing smile on her face. "You're doing great, you know. It's like you've come alive," she said softly, her voice barely above the chatter of the other families around. Jake chuckled, feeling a rush of gratitude. "I don't know what's happening. It's just different. I want to keep this going for Mia, for us." Sarah nodded, her expression thoughtful. It's more than just the music. You're sharing something deeper. You've always had it in you, maybe it just needed the right moment. Her words settled into his heart, making him realize how profound this journey could be. It wasn't just about Mia shining on the stage, it was about both of them stepping out of the shadows, reclaiming pieces of themselves they thought were long lost. That night, while lying in bed, Jake couldn't sleep. Ideas swirled in his head like the twinkling stars outside his window. They needed a routine, something special that would make their performance unique. They could combine song and movement, something that entwined their strengths. The next days flew by in a whirlwind of rehearsals and brainstorming sessions. They crafted a routine, exploring ideas that spanned everything they loved. Every moment of practice brought them closer, enhancing not only their talents but their bond as siblings. Laughter echoed in their home as they worked late into the night. On the morning of the talent show, nerves filled the air. Mia paced, her energy bouncing off the walls. Jake watched her, a knot of anxiety twisting in his stomach. "You ready?" he asked, trying to put on a brave face. "More than ready. But are you?" She turned, her excitement contrasting with his unease. "I think so," he replied, though the words felt heavy. In that moment, his phone pinged. It was a message from Sarah. "Remember, it's not just about winning. It's about sharing who you are." Jake took a deep breath, soaking in her words, and looked at Mia again. "Okay, let us go show them." As they headed toward the stage, with the chatter of the waiting audience echoing around them, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that something big was about to unfold. What if their performance sparked more than applause? What if it opened doors they didn't even know existed? The stage lights were bright, and the audience was buzzing with energy. Jake's heart raced. Was he truly ready for this? The moment of truth was at hand. Would they shine? Stepping under the spotlight, everything paused. Their journey, their dreams, all of it led to this. With Mia by his side, he took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever awaited them. The spotlight felt blinding, but Jake forced himself to focus on Mia standing beside him. Her face radiated pure joy, and that glimmer in her eyes pushed him to exhale slowly, calming the chaos inside. They had rehearsed for this moment, pouring their hearts into every practice, every late-night session. The music began to play, filling the air with a haunting melody that swept through the crowd. Mia stepped forward, her voice soaring. The audience quieted, their attention folding around them like a warm blanket. Her confidence surged, and with every note, Jake could feel the weight of his doubt lifting. That he joined her, channeling every ounce of emotion he had into his part. The harmonies blended perfectly, a sweet blend of hope ricocheting off the walls. Laughter erupted once more, like a sprinkle of magic dust, when he executed a silly dance move that made Mia giggle mid-verse. The audience chuckled, and the atmosphere shifted to one of pure delight. Jake couldn't remember when he last felt this alive. Each step, each note was a reminder of why he had committed to this journey with Mia. But as the song wound toward its pinnacle, the doubt surged back, a heavy weight in his chest. What if they lost it? What if he froze? Panic threatened to choke him. Just when he thought he might fall into that familiar abyss, he caught a glimpse of Sarah in the audience. Her smile was bright, full of encouragement. She nodded slightly, as if saying, "You've got this." It ignited something deep in him. He remembered her words, sharing who they were. He wasn't just performing for the audience, he was sharing his heart with Mia, with everyone watching. Letting go of the fear, he locked eyes with her, and they launched into the final chorus together. Bold, bright, and unyielding. As they sang the last notes, the audience erupted into applause, cheers drowning out the lingering hints of anxiety. Mia beamed, a spark of triumph lighting up her face. Jake could hardly believe it. This was about so much more than just the performance. It was a declaration of who they were becoming together. Once they stepped off the stage, Jake's chest felt lighter, clearer. The euphoria of sharing something real lingered in the air. Mia was bouncing on her toes, filled with an energy that could electrify the entire square. "We did it, Jake. Can you believe it? Her voice was pure sweetness, and it made his heart swell, but deep down, an undercurrent of fear remained. What came next? This was just the beginning, wasn't it? Their performance might have won cheers today, but what about tomorrow? Would it lead to more opportunities for them to shine, or would it fade like smoke in the air? Jake glanced toward the crowd where families and friends were celebrating, but something nagged at him. Did they have the courage to do this again when the applause faded? Would he continue to be there for Mia, share in her dreams, support her when the world felt too big? As they walked through the after-show excitement, he felt a familiar tugging at his heart, the weight of expectation. But then he remembered, this was about being together, being real. They could embrace whatever was next, side by side, with Mia's hand in his. He turned to her, his resolve tightening. What do you think we should do next? He asked, curiosity in his voice. Mia's eyes sparkled with a million possibilities, the world unfolding before them. I don't know. But I want to do everything. And in that moment, as she imagined their future, Jake felt a shiver of excitement. Let us not stop here, she exclaimed, her voice ringing with determination. Jake grinned back, fearing nothing at that moment. They had just begun to touch the edges of something incredible. But just then, a figure stepped forward from the edge of the crowd, a familiar face he hadn't expected to see. What do you think you two are up to? It was Mr. Simmons, the local talent scout known for his eye for rising stars. Jake's heart raced. The next chapter of their journey was about to unfold. But would they be ready for it? As Jake absorbed the buzz of excitement in the air, he felt something shift inside him. The performance was more than just applause, it was a revelation. He was no longer the lazy boy of Maplewood. He stood beside Mia, a proud brother, ready to face whatever came next. Simmons approached them, eyes dancing with enthusiasm. You two were phenomenal. I can see you both have real talent and passion, he exclaimed, clapping them on the back. I happen to be organizing a youth talent showcase next month. I'd love to have you on board. Jake's heart thudded in his chest. A showcase? This was the chance for them to take their talents further, to step into the pathway they had only begun to explore. He glanced at Mia. Her eyes sparkled like the stars above, overflowing with joy and excitement. Really? We'd love to. Mia piped up, her voice alight with eagerness. Jake felt a surge of pride. She had found her voice, and it was beautiful. Great. We'll work together, polish your act, and really make it shine. This could be a wonderful opportunity for you both, Mr. Simmons said. Jake nodded, feeling the anchor of his fears loosen. Why not? They could embrace this adventure together. As plans for the showcase took shape, Jake threw himself into preparation. Every rehearsal, every moment spent with Mia solidified a bond that felt stronger than ever. They experimented with new songs, added dance routines, and explored their creativity. It was exhilarating. The joy radiating from Mia filled every corner of his heart, washing away the remnants of self-doubt. He realized that it wasn't just about achieving success, it was the shared experience of growth that brought them closer. On the day of the showcase, Maplewood shimmered in golden sunlight. Jake and Mia made their way to the town hall, the facade dressed in festival colors. Friends, family, and neighbors buzzed with anticipation and energy that warmed Jake's heart. Backstage, the moment before their performance felt electric. Jake could feel the weight of the crowd pressing against him, mingled with anxiousness and excitement. But as Mia bounced beside him, her childlike enthusiasm ignited his spirit. We've got this, she whispered, squeezing his hand. Taking a deep breath, they stepped onto the stage, the crowd's roar washing over them like waves crashing on the shore. Under the bright lights, time held its breath again. This was their moment. Together, they shared a look that settled all remaining doubts. They could do this. As the music began, Jake felt not just nerves but an all-encompassing joy. Their routine flowed, a blend of melody and movement that captured hearts. Each note brought forth laughter, each beat showcased their connection. The audience responded with roaring approval, their smiles enveloped Mia and Jake like a warm embrace. They finished strong, leaving the crowd in pure awe, and the applause felt like a waterfall, a cascading rush of love and acceptance. As they took their bows, Jake locked eyes with his parents in the front row. Their faces glowed with pride, radiating an approval that settled deep in his heart. After the show, cheers echoed as their friends rushed up, congratulating them. Jake felt a warmth spread through the crowd, a newfound sense of belonging. Jake turned to Mia, who was buzzing with excitement. "Can you believe we did that?" she asked, eyes alight. "More than that," he replied, pulling her into a tight hug. "We did it together, and that makes all the difference." The transformation in Jake was tangible. No longer burdened with the title of the lazy boy, he was growing into the man he aspired to be. Each achievement a fountain, a festival, a showcase was a stepping stone toward a brighter future. In that moment of triumph, surrounded by family and friends, he felt lighter than air, a vision of waves breaking free on an open shore. His journey was just beginning. With Mia by his side, there were endless roads to travel, thousands of stories to create. And as the crowd's energy pulsed with joy, Jake reflected on how love, courage, and community could bring about transformation in the deepest ways. That he grabbed Mia's hand, both of them caught in the excitement of the future, ready to embrace the next chapter with relentless hope and excitement. Together, they would discover all that life had to offer. This was not just the end, it was the beginning of something beautiful, something truly extraordinary. Now, if you were inspired by Jake and Mia's incredible journey, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that will move your heart. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and let everyone know how much you love this transformation, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this amazing journey of growth and possibility. Let us spread the love and encouragement.